Hello and welcome to another edition of eDOCS DM on YouTube. My name is John Tan and today we'll be talking about installing and using eDOCS DM with Lotus Notes 8 or 9. What I'm going to cover here is how to install eDOCS DM, integration with Lotus Notes. I want to show you what gets installed and some common questions and problems that you might come across after the installation. There are a couple of things that you'll need to have configured prior to doing the install. First, you should have your Lotus IBM Domino server up and running. Your Lotus Notes client should be configured to send and receive mail. There's the HLE_template.ntf, which we provide, which needs to be copied locally to the client's data folder. I'll show you where that is. By default, it's located, the data folder is located in that location: users, username, app data, Lotus Notes, and data. Of course, that data directory could also be in the notes directory as well. The other thing is users must have designer or manager rights to Lotus Notes. That is something I'll show you later. It is set in Lotus Notes itself. So let me take you over to my Lotus Notes client. And as you can see, I've already got Lotus Notes integration installed here. But I'll show you what that looks like. The version I've installed here is DM10. The DM531 installation is exactly the same. The functionality is exactly the same for Lotus Notes 8 or 9. So the Lotus Notes integration option is at the very top when you first do your installation on a client machine. By default, it's not enabled, so you'll want to go in here and make sure that it is. The entire feature will be installed on the local drive. Once you finish the install, that installs all of the files needed. There are some additional steps after once you first log into Lotus Notes that we'll have to do, and additionally you'll have to make sure that the HLE_template file is copied to the user's data directory on the local machine. We provide you with the HLE_template.ntf. It'll be located in the DM10 ISO or the 531 installation files. Here I have it shown where it's going to be in Tools, DM Extensions, Domino Server, and there we have HLE_template.ntf. There is also a HLE_readme.txt, which I'll mention later on. You'll need that information in there to set up certain features like drag and drop. So what you'll want to do here is just go ahead and copy it. So you see right here, my data directory is not in my app data folder. If you've got it set up for a single user, then it'll be in your app data folder. If you have it set for multi-user, then it'll be set on the C drive in the Lotus Notes directory. So we'll go look there. IBM, Lotus Notes and Data. As you can see, I've already copied it in that directory. So now after the installation, there are a few things we'll have to set up. Now there are two versions of Lotus Notes for Lotus 8 and 9. There is what we call the basic version and the standard or Eclipse version of Lotus Notes. Basically, the basic version of Lotus Notes is similar to Lotus Notes 7. It's very simple, doesn't have a lot of the eye candy that the standard or the Eclipse version of Lotus Notes has. That's going to make a difference as far as what type of integration you can use for Lotus Notes, and it'll determine what kind of features we can use. The executables, you can tell the difference between them. And again, this is in the Notes directory. NL-notes.exe is the basic version. Notes.exe is the standard version. As you can see on my desktop here, I have Lotus Notes 8.5. That's the standard version, and then I have the basic version as well. So the two things to remember regarding these two different versions of Lotus Notes is, again, the features and the type of integration you'll use. There are two types of integration available. One's called small footprint, and one is called advanced interface. For our purposes, small footprint is basically, will work with either Lotus Notes Basic or Lotus Notes Standard. The advanced interface will only work with Lotus Notes Basic. And that is due to a lot of the architecture changes in Lotus Notes Standard. It does not support many of the features that are available in the advanced interface, such as drag and drop, dynamic views, or the tree view that you would see in, say, Microsoft Outlook. The Lotus Notes Basic does support those features, so it depends on what your site is using, which will determine what type of integration we can use. By default, the integration is set up to use advanced interface. Once you log in, you can change that. You can also set that in the HLE_template. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. couple of things to look for when you first log in. You'll notice a little icon down here, down in the system tray. This is our eDOCS plugin. It says initializing, not connected. When you log in, you'll get your login screen for eDOCS DM. Go ahead and log in, and that will enable our connector. So you see all the familiar icons pop up down here. And this one now says initializing. You'll also see the options down here. If you click on this little bar here, it'll show you all the things that are happening, connecting to your DM server, connecting to the Domino server, and here I have it retrieving folders. And once you have a successful connection, this little icon here will turn green, and if you hover over it, it'll say ready along with your account. So a few things I'll show you here as far as what we can do to make sure that everything is set up properly. As I mentioned earlier, you'll want to make sure that you have designer or manager rights. And you can do that by looking up here to File, Application, and Access Control. You can highlight your user, and you'll see the attributes here. Right now I have manager access. You need either manager or designer access in order to modify the HLE_ template. So make sure that that is set. Now, if everything is set up and installed correctly, you'll see, I believe I have a screenshot here. You'll see this message down here. Please remember to use your library configuration dialog. That is something that you'll only have to do the first time you log in. So basically you'll click OK and restart. Lotus Notes in DM. I've already logged in a few times, so I won't see that message. Now, to tell if you are in basic or standard, again, if you're not sure after you've launched Lotus Notes, you can look in Help, About Notes, and you'll see here basic configuration. The standard one will say standard. I think it says Eclipse, one of those. So once you're in Lotus Notes, all of our action items are up here in the Actions menu. So if you click on that, you'll see a lot of familiar options. Insert file from eDOCS DM, eDOCS DM system configuration, integrated databases, and your menu options for configure, file, and so on. The integration that I have installed right now is the advanced interface. And like I said before, this works with the basic version of Lotus Notes. And I told you that you can change the integration within here, or you can modify the HLE_ template to make one version, one set of the integration default, and that you'll find that in the documentation. So basically, if any kind of system configuration is going to be done here in eDOCS DM System Configuration under the System Startup tab. And you see right here we have use an advanced interface or use small footprint. Again, by default it's usually set to use advanced interface, but again you can modify the HLE_template so that you have use small footprint instead. Some of the other options that apply are the Notes Email tab. You can change these items, process attachments, if document already exists, attachments, all that can be modified, and that applies to when you save an email. And with this, with the advanced interface, just to differentiate from the small footprint, the way you save documents by default in the advanced interface is you hold down the control button and right click on an email. And you'll see a little context menu comes up, right click menu. In this case, save to DM, it's your library. And you'll see the familiar attachment option. These can be changed from within here as well. And after that, it will bring up the profile form. So I'll go ahead and fill this out. And this is the attachment. And then here's the email. And you'll notice the application shows Lotus Notes email. And we are saved into DM. I can go into Windows Explorer, extensions, and you'll see there's the email, there's the attachment. Now, some of the neat features with Advanced Interface is you will see you have the DM tree on the left-hand side here. And if you've ever used our Outlook integration, you'll know that this is similar to that. Basically gives you all these options. And these will all work just like you would in DM extensions or Outlook extensions. Another option that is available with Advanced Interface, and this is documented as well. You basically have to run through some steps to modify the mail database the user's mail database to enable drag and drop. So if you have that enabled, if you set that up correctly, you can drag and drop emails. which will bring up the same thing. So again, that's one of the features of advanced interface. So now what I'm going to do is show you the small footprint. And some of the differences between that and the advanced interface. So I'm going to go into the OpenText system configuration, go over to the system startup, and this time I'm going to change it to use small footprint. And click OK. It'll ask me to restart Notes. And I'm going to go ahead and close out of all of our processes here for DM. Okay, so now I can go back, and since I've switched it to small footprint, I can use either Lotus Notes Standard or Lotus Notes Basic. Since I've made that switch, I'm going to go ahead and open up Lotus Notes Standard this time, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Again, log into DM. And just from the get-go here, you can see it's a lot shinier, more modern looking. Lotus Notes 9 is even more advanced. You can see down at the bottom corner here, we've got it's integrated, and this is that menu item that you'll see every time you first log into Lotus Notes, and after making a change, it'll tell you that the menu is old, so you'll need to restart it. And again, you'll only have to do this the first time after you make a change. So we'll go ahead and close out here again and log back in. Okay, and offhand right now you can see we don't have the tree view on the left-hand side. That's not supported with this version of Lotus Notes, the standard version. I can't drag and drop emails, even though I have that set up, and I can't control right-click on an email to bring up the save dialog. For small footprint, your saving ability will be through the Actions menu. So you've still got your insert files, you've got your eDOCS system configuration, you don't have any of the file options that you would see from DM extensions or Outlook extensions, and you'll see your save option is right here. So basically you'll highlight an email, click on the Actions menu, and click on the Save option. And again, it does the exact same thing at this point. It'll go through, give you your attachments options if you want to save them separately. And you can go ahead and save that into DM. Now, a lot of sites like to use this version of Lotus Notes, which is why we created the small footprint, so that you would have some type of integration, at least be able to save emails. But again, it takes away a lot of the advanced features that other people like as well. So depending on your site, which version of Lotus Notes you use will determine what you can do and what type of integration you can use. Again, here's the details here as far as what you can do with the small footprint and advanced interface. Alright, and let me run through some of the things you'll want to look for after an install, just to make sure that everything looks correct. We have a number of HECLN files. HECLN, once you see that, you know that's ours. That has to do with Lotus Notes. The other ones you'll see will have Hummingbird in front of it, HumDMS. All these files here are ours. These are in the Notes directory. In the Data directory, you'll see all the HECLN files, as well as your HLE_template. In Lotus Notes, there's a notes.ini file, which we add entries to after the install. Again, this will be located in the user's data directory. So we add these 4 lines, HECLN, depending on what type of integration you're using. In this case, this one is small footprint. And then it'll also give you the user's mail database. This add-in menu, which gives you the insert from DM, and this one as well. And there is the integrated database, which also should list your user mail database. So if we go to Actions, Integrated Databases, you'll see there's the Lotus Notes integrated database, and then your mail database. And here it looks like the notes.ini is actually in the notes folder and not in the data folder. Notes.ini. So if we open that up, we can run through and look for our entries, make sure they're in there. Okay, there's two of them. HECLN shows small footprint in my mail database. And there are the other add-in menus and the insert from DM menu. So if you encounter any issues, a lot of times we'll look in the notes.ini, make sure that these entries are correct, or make sure that there aren't any duplicate entries. And here, so yeah, if any of those entries are missing in the notes.ini, integration won't work properly, or items might be grayed out or missing. The little icon down in the bottom system tray, if that's not working properly, if that's not connecting, a lot of times it's because the user doesn't have the proper access rights in Lotus Notes. And as far as troubleshooting any issues, the main thing that we can do is turn on Lotus Notes logging, which is very thorough and very helpful. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. And this will be in the Actions menu in the eDOCS DM system configuration, System Startup, and this section here, Logging. Go ahead and set all of these to 4. And you'll see here log files are stored in the working directory with the format. So we'll go ahead and click OK here. Restart Notes. So now we have logging turned on, and I'm just going to run through and go ahead and save an email. And then we can take a look at the log and see what gets put in there. Again, this will be in the app data directory, the users directory, local, open text, and then Lotus client. Oops. You'll see here the OLTC trace log. Shows you exactly what's starting up, what's running. A lot of information which is very useful when troubleshooting issues. So if you ever encounter any issues, I always look in here, enable logging, and then see if there are any errors that pop up in the log. You'll also see if you get an actual error, you'll see things like this in the exception logs. Again, another good tool to troubleshoot. So that's pretty much it as far as just setting up basic integration. I'll show you these emails that you save can be opened up from DM. We have an application called hlviewer.exe that we can use to open emails. So you'll see the little icons next to them. And it'll open it up in Lotus Notes. Now Lotus Notes, as far as Lotus Notes 8 and up, saves emails as .lne files, Lotus Notes emails. Prior to that, they were saved as RTFs. You actually have that option to save emails as RTF still. That is something that you can modify in the HLE template. Again, there's documentation on that as far as modifying it, but as far as Lotus Notes 8 and 9, you'll want to keep it at LNE instead of RTF. Again, RTF, you could use that. You can open that with Word or Outlook, but LNE is specific to Lotus Notes. The other thing is our HL viewer is specific to LNE files, so it'll only open up LNE files. So again, there are a few other advanced features that you can implement by modifying the HLE template. That is all documented thoroughly in the DM10 and the DM531 admin guide. And that's all we have for today. Thank you for your time.